like to ask your indulgence here to play along with me on a little demonstration. Hope all of you will participate. There are actually two ways of making decisions or coming to a conclusion about something. And I'm going to read you the description of the two ways. And I want you to listen to the two ways and decide which one best describes you. One of them will best describe how you approach things and how you make decisions and how you come to conclusions. And I'm going to just read them to you, and then I'm going to ask you to share which side you're on this. Okay? The first way to make decisions and come to conclusions. I primarily turn to logic for deciding, using objective and impersonal criteria. I am firm-minded, skeptical, and analytical. I am fair when dealing with people, but I may hurt their feelings without really intending to, or being aware of it even. I think with my head, not with my heart. That's the first way. Here's the second way. I apply personal priorities in deciding. I weigh human values and motives. I am sensitive to what others are feeling and take that into account in my decision. I may lean more toward mercy than justice. I highly value harmony and praise. I actually kind of think with my heart. All right. If everyone who is in the number one category will please stand up.
All the guys.
Okay, how many people? It's probably, what, 70% maybe? Let's let the other side stand up and so we can see. The second time. We had a good representative of the second time here. It's unusual in a libertarian group, but I would say we're probably about 65, 35, something like that. Okay? Very good, very interesting. Now, this is part of the problem we have in communicating libertarian ideas. And it also happens to be one of the reasons why we don't have as many women in the movement. Because if you notice, in the second half, most of the women were in that half, or more women were in that group than in the first group. More of the population is in that second group as well. And until we learn to be able to appeal to emotion and to appeal to that kind of thinker, we will not appeal to the masses of people. We will not be able to bring people in as much. We will not be able to bring women in, but we also will not be able to bring people who tend to be really passionate about ideas. People who tend to want to go out there and actually change the world. Those are the people who are in the second type more often than not. The first type are the scientists and the engineers and so forth, and that's great. All the types are great, okay? But what we need more of the number two kind in the movement, and we also need to appeal more to the number two kind when we're presenting our ideas. So now I'm going to talk about these three big ideas that I want us all to consider. The first idea is that we may be in danger as libertarians of becoming lazy and complacent, losing our edge, and we may be falling into, as a victim of, the curse of knowledge. I'll explain what all of that is. A little history that many of you probably know, but if you think about the patterns that go on here, let's take the 50s and 60s, for example. In the 50s and 60s, conservative ideas almost disappeared completely. They were just, you didn't hear any conservative ideas in the mainstream. Liberalism was on its ascendancy. All good people agreed, just about. they were just in charge of everything. The conservatives didn't have very many ideas. They didn't present their ideas very well, and the liberals were doing that. Were presenting their ideas very well, and they were in ascendancy. Then along came, at that time, the conservatives were kind of in the wilderness. They were they didn't have much sway or much influence, but they did their homework. They started working behind the scenes. They developed the Heritage Foundation, National Review, all of these organizations like this, and they were doing their homework and learning how to present their ideas, how to have those ideas enter into the mainstream, and they won. They came about. Suddenly they were in the ascendancy. Conservatism was in the ascendancy, and liberals just fell by the wayside. They got lazy and complacent. They had their ideas out there, and they were given all the arguments, and they thought they had won, and everything was fine, and they didn't need to study anymore. They didn't need to communicate anymore because they had it made. And behind the scenes, the conservatives were working to overshadow that, and they were caught unaware. Suddenly, the conservatives won in the Reagan Revolution. And then all ideas, everyone agrees, were conservative ideas. And the liberals were lost. Well, you see what has happened now. Now the liberals are on ascendancy again. And part of the reason why they are is because, again, they did their homework. Behind the scenes, when everyone thought liberalism was dead, they were developing experts in linguistics, in communication skills, in how to use words, how to be persuasive, how to market their ideas, all of those things behind the scenes. And nobody was paying attention, but suddenly, now, there they are, okay? Now, libertarians need to pay attention to this pattern, because now, libertarianism, I strongly believe, is in ascendancy. It's at the beginning of it. Reason Magazine has called it the libertarian moment. And I believe, indeed, that's where we are. This is the libertarian moment. This is the time when we can become successful. It's the time when more people are open to our ideas than ever before. In decades, more people are open to our ideas. It's our time. But we have to be careful that we do not get lazy and think all the work has already been done. We've already figured out all the solutions. We know everything. And not realize that we still have to always be aware of those ideas and what are the new solutions for right now, for this time in history, and to be able to present them